Hello, everybody, and welcome to Keeping It Spiritually Simple. It is my honor and my pleasure to have Miss Julie Severn on once again. And hello, Julie, what's happening up yonder in yourville?
A lot.
Yeah,
A lot. Always a lot happening. And it's so nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me again.
absolutely. So you've been, got a little of the under the weather with the cold thing. And I think we were just saying a cold is a cold. By any other name, it's a cold.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you know what? I have come out of this without any scratches. So I'm doing very well. And no doctor visit, just a little cold where I had a runny nose and was coughing and blowing nose. And I didn't even have a sore throat. It was like nothing. So if that's what they call that, I'm really shocked that it's something so scary because it's not, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's been around for what, 50 years, 60 years longer. Who knows, who cares. I'm
the
not I
lies, the lies and the lies just keep on perpetuating until people will start understanding what a ridiculous lie it's become.
Yes,
hmm
someday more eyes will be open, more ears will hear.
We will keep praying.
Yes, we will. I was on
Yeah.
my on a roll, on a monkey roll this morning. I was like, won't you take me to Monkey Town? And I
I
was just
actually
like,
saw it and shared it.
I did a couple of them, a couple monkey like rhythms came through and I just posted them out. I think this is what happens when I get a really good night's sleep.
Yeah. Kind of makes you a little happier, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And
Definitely.
sleep has been very elusive for a lot of people these days because
Yes.
with all the stress that's going on, people don't understand why they're feeling so stressed. They don't. Their soul knows, but their human doesn't. And so, if you equate this to something that happened from 1939 to 1945, you will understand why everybody is feeling this way. Because it's the same feeling that you get when there is a worry. And this has been going on for over 20 years, this war. And it is now coming to an end. And a lot of people are just starting to realize that it started in the first place,
Mm,
you know? So it started in 2001,
yeah.
9/11, that was the start of it. And now it's the finish. So we're getting to that place and the world has gone quiet suddenly. Have you noticed things have gone pretty quiet?
Oh yeah. I actually have
And
noticed that since end of February.
And this is the quiet before the storm because
Mm,
everything that's coming up on anything you see now is coming up as like a 2-year delta, 3-year delta, 4-year delta, because it's showing us that, what they saw back then on these time frames is now happening. So it feels to me like things are ramping up a lot faster and soon people will find out what they need to find out. So
yes.
patience is a virtue here because we can't tell time. Timelines always move, and they are moving very rapidly right now. If you paid attention, you would notice that every single clock in your house has a different time.
Hmm.
Times are jumping, and it's quite interesting, isn't it?
It very each day seems I have no idea what day it is, what time it is.
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't even look or ask anymore. I just, as long as I keep my appointments, I'm okay. But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
one less thing I need to be concerned with.
Thank goodness for calendars. you
Yeah.
know
My day timer. I'm always, let me make that appointment right now before I forget. Let me put that in my notepad right now because I'll go off and go, what day is it?
Yeah, and I mean, forgetting to get something out of the freezer to cook dinner, forgetting
Oh
to,
yeah.
to do the things. It's just like our minds are so preoccupied now. And that's one of the things I wanted to kind of address today
Please.
is how preoccupied people are and how easily they can flip a switch from one topic to another and how
Mhm.
easily they're being deflected. And I also want to talk about that interruption of peace that happens because we are really, really being hit with a lot of stuff right now. And if you will notice, one of the deep state's biggest things they've used against us is music.
Mm.
It absolutely shuts us down in our brain because suddenly a song will show up in our brain, won't it?
Yes.
And that song shows up, and then suddenly we start singing it, and then whatever we were thinking about is gone. So I'm really noticing this weirdness, because I will be doing something in the kitchen, thinking about something spiritual, and then suddenly this song comes up, and it's like, I don't need this song. Why did it just show up? Because my past history was to sing my way through everything. So each of us has our own method or way that we do things. And I've taken away that singing thing, but the songs are still showing up, but they're not light songs. They're not songs that are of light. They're songs that we know are manipulative and not good. So it's one of the deep state's ways of working on us on a cellular level. And that goes right down to the pineal gland, because we are actually being programmed by some things that we are unaware of. So, the detractors, the distractions, the music, it's all part and parcel of the, let's keep you out of your spirit and stay in your body. Now, it's very interesting because we're all going to 5D. The reptilians can't go to 5D. They're stuck. So they want to keep us here. And so keeping us here in 3D is the music, the distractions, the lies, all of this stuff that comes through. But if you pay attention when you get into bed at night, that is also when it hits you. The distractions hit. And suddenly you can see yourself walking down the street. You're visualizing you're going for a walk with your dog or something, and suddenly you see yourself fall down, because that is also coming into you as a program to show you that you should be afraid at all times of everything that you do. So the music and the meditations and bringing in this energy, and I've noticed it a lot. So I'm bringing it up so that people can start to look at it and pay attention to it, because it is a distraction, and it's not a light distraction, it's a dark one. And it's meant to take you back, oh, this song is playing in my head. Oh, geez, I remember this song from when I was 18. It's a great song. It's not a great song. It's playing at 440 hertz. It's a bad song. It mucks with your DNA. It mucks with everything. And it programs you. If you start reading the words to the songs, you're going to go, holy smokes. Like that song, Stairway to Heaven. If you do play it backwards, it does talk all about Satan. I'm not joking. I've heard it. Now, the other thing about it is, it was one of my favorite songs. It's a beautiful song. It was written for the most evil person in the world. And it talks about her. I won't mention her name, but it's that bad. So we have to understand that programming isn't just on a television level. It's actually on a sleep state, dream state, meditation state level. Or if you just shut down for a couple of seconds and quiet your mind, then the music moves in. It's quite interesting. Have you noticed that?
I have noticed it. And there's a song when you were talking about that always stays out of my mind, and it comes out at the holidays. It's the Alleluia song. And like every band has done this song, and it sounds like it's supposed to feel so spiritual and holidayish, but yet it's written about a guy climaxing in his kitchen. And it's all a bizarre song. That was the original writings of it. And when you look at lyrics versus the music notes that are put with it, they're trying to blend something that might have one type of energy with another type of energy to get it in there and hit that density levels to keep you down, to keep you sidetracked, to keep you in. And people are just singing the songs, not realizing what exactly they're singing.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So now you're going to go look up that song, aren't you?
I am. Because I heard other stuff about hallelujah and what it really means. And it's not a good word.
I don't even know about the word. I just know the song that everybody's.
I think it.
Hallelujah. That one. It's the one that every band has done. Everyone.
It's just interesting that you brought it up, because that one I just read the other day, and it's got deep state connotations. That particular word, just like Yahweh is got evil words. Yahweh, which is the Hebrew name of God, means Baal, Baal, who is the biggest demon of all of the dark demons. So it's quite interesting how, we've been taken aside with all of this stuff and told it's okay. But when you listen to it, it's not okay. If you start listening and looking at the words to some of these musics, you get really upset. And the reason you do is because it touches your soul to the deepest level, which I have been programmed my God, I'm singing this song and it does not resonate with me at all. It
Mhm.
never will again because it is not light,
Yeah.
you know, and, you know, for a long time, I mean, you know, okay, who's the one that sang another Pink Floyd, another brick in the wall?
Yes.
You know, we don't need your education. We don't need your mind control. This is really going back so far for us to pay attention to, and we don't.
Mhm.
Some songs were trying to tell us, other songs were trying to program us.
Yeah.
So if you listen to these songs and you start understanding what they really mean, like I've been reading lyrics to songs now for quite some time because I've
Mhm.
been noticing what they're saying.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this song comes into my head. And there's this one song that won't leave my head, and it's called Young Blood by 5 Seconds of Summer from Australia.
Mhm.
It's an amazing song. But when
Isn't that a
yeah,
remake though? Young Blood. Isn't that a remake
nope,
though?
nope. This is a new
Okay.
song out of Australia. So a couple of years old. And it was one of my favorite songs until I really listened to the words. You know,
Mhm.
young blood, you need it, you got it out of your life. I'm just a
Oh
dead man
yeah.
walking tonight. You know,
Yes.
it's it's horrible. And it's talking about adrenochrome, and it's talking about these things that, you know, and so when you listen to the song, the tune, it's the tune that gets you, and you don't pay attention to the words. You just automatically sing it by rote. This song comes into my head all the time. And I'm trying to figure out why it comes into my head, because there's a reason why this song won't leave.
Mhm.
And so what I've been doing is singing it with light language and changing it.
Oh, so you're
So
changing the
I
whole frequency of it.
Yes.
Good for
And I do that.
you.
I do that with a lot of songs. If a song comes on and I know it's got ugly words, but I like the tune, I will automatically just change it to light language because I will sing light language. I actually spoke reptilian yesterday. That was quite something. Haven't done that yet. That was, I was working with group, and I've told you all about the tablets that we've
Yes.
recovered and united, and they are now located and safe with the Ark of the Covenant. Well, 2 or 3 days ago, everybody in group was saying, "Are we going to work this weekend?" And I said, "I haven't got anything. I've got nothing." Night before last, I was lying in bed. Suddenly, these tablets showed up, the ones that we fixed, and they were upset. And I was like, "What is going on?" So I went into meditation, and I saw a black tablet.
Ooh, I
Mhm.
got my whole spine, everything just whoa with that. Mm.
Yes, I saw a black tablet, and I saw that it was either I think it's obsidian, but it was shiny, but it had dull writing on it, and I
Mm.
could it was written in reptilian. And so I knew that it needed to be healed and, well, destroyed. We destroyed it, really, is what we did. And we went in yesterday for an emergency meeting, and we went in and we destroyed it. And that's when I spoke the reptilian language, because it was just and it was so guttural. Oh my goodness. It was so guttural, but it was definitely reptilian. And it was definitely, you could even understand some of the things I was saying because of the feelings and it was quite
Mhm.
something. But it was really necessary to get rid of it. And last night, that was the deep state's way of controlling us and deactivating the tablet that we activated.
Mm.
So now it's deactivated and the world can start to heal now. I feel like it's going to make a really big difference on how things happen. So disclosure will probably happen sooner. Opening will probably happen sooner because the hearts of humankind are beginning to open. And they will
Yes.
continue to open with the work all of these groups all over the world are doing,
Yes.
because we aren't going to stop. We're going to be doing everything that we can to help people to come into their power, you know? So distractions, music, noticing. I think the biggest one is paying attention to that. So if you're watching this video, pay attention to the music that comes into your head. What is it? Analyze it, look at it, go look up the words, and then understand that you're being programmed. And
Yes.
don't be afraid of it. Just take control of it.
Mhm.
Because, and if you can, change the words.
Well,
It's always the words.
I think there's two kinds of people in the world. There's those that will listen to the musical beat and move to it and have no idea what the song, what the lyrics are. And there's those that will look them up. I was always one, I wanted to hear the lyrics.
Yeah.
The beat was secondary. My sisters were always the beat was first, having no idea what the lyrics were. But in 2017, when I cleared my brain and asked for everything that I know to leave, and that anything else that was going to come through was going to get processed differently. And from then on out, I would be in the car with someone traveling or doing something, a song would come on, we start to sing it, and I would get my phone out and immediately look up what the words were, where the song originated, who wrote it, why they wrote it.
Yep.
And that changed my whole perception about whether I even wanted to ever listen to that song again.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep. I've cut so many songs off of my playlist. I now listen to The Who a lot, and that's a Mongolian rock band. They're amazing. I listen to spiritual music, and I pretty much have cut anybody off who is in the rock and roll world, because I'm realizing that, our mother said, that's devil music. Crap, she was right. And I was so mad when I was young, when everybody said, oh, this is such bad music. No, it's not. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, they kind of did.
Well, if music can affect your emotions and your moods and the frequencies, you have to make choices on which way it's actually affecting you.
Yeah.
But you have to get back into that present moment and take stock of it and decide, am I detaching from that, or am I going to recreate it? And you may be in places where, like you said, you're listening to something and you can change it, because many of us work retail, or we're out somewhere, we're in a store. We can't necessarily change, the channel on the grocery store song playlist or the mall or wherever we are. But we can certainly change the frequency in which we're receiving it.
And that's what I do when I'm in the
Yeah.
damn store. I'm singing light language, not kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anywhere I'm going and I hear music, I change it to light language. And I just do
Yeah.
it very lowly in my mind, because, quietly, because I
Mhm.
don't want to, I'm not going to cause a furor with anyone because I'm singing a weird song.
Mhm.
Nobody ever really notices that I'm doing it. But what I also do when I go into the store is I make myself invisible. And
Yeah.
so that is what I also do, because to me, if I don't feel like interacting with anyone, I can do it two ways. I can make myself completely invisible and nobody will even see me. And I've done it tons. I know it works. Or I can make myself out there so that everybody sees me, and it's my choice on what kind of mood I'm in and whether I feel like interacting. Because at the place I'm at now, I'm really not interacting with a lot of people in the world, like on Facebook and on Messenger and on my writing and all my stuff that I do. I interact with people that way, but that's pretty much what I'm doing now. I'm not really out there visiting with people or having people over, because I feel like it's better for each of us right now to insulate a bit.
Yeah.
Not just me, but everybody, because there's too much energy out there and it's too frenetic,
Mhm.
So we need to
Yeah.
start realizing that maybe that frenetic energy has been there all along and we're just noticing it.
Mhm.
Maybe that energy has been tough, because a lot of people, when they go into a grocery store, they get into anxiety, or they go into a shop, they get anxiety because they can't handle the energy. So how long have we been doing this without noticing that energy?
Mhm.
And now I shift it because I don't desire it. I can literally make myself invisible and nobody will even see me as I'm walking along.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have even more realization of the anxiety when the prices have gone up or something's not available to them anymore. But I want to
Yeah.
bring a note to the cloaking and being invisible, because I do that too. And then there's times where I will do it and then people are running into me, or I'm in my car and all of a sudden I get a flash because a car just literally went to cut over on me and never saw me and missed me. And I realized, oh, I've done my cloaking and my protection, but I need to be visible, people. I need a boundary around my invisibility, please. A
Yeah.
bumper car, just need a bumper car distance around myself physically. And so that I'm not also running into people. But most of the time it's when I've done that, it's been the opposite. And then I go, oh, I need to do my bumper car. I need a little space.
I need my car to be a little visible. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's and I mean, it's even, you can use your power in so many ways, I mean, one of the ways, you're going to the grocery store, you can see the parking lot's pretty full. You just drive into the parking lot, and as you're driving in, you say, Mother of Love, Mother of Grace, find for me a parking place close to the door. Thank you very much. And boom, you've got one. You've got so many things that you can create. You can be in a room full of people and somebody's talking about something you're not interested in talking about, and it's going to get you ramped up, which would be some nasty discussions these days. And I just sit there and I visualize, we've finished talking about this, we've changed the subject, it's your idea. And they change the subject. immediately because that energy is now shifted. This is about us learning how to use it so that we're comfortable,
Yeah.
because I've had enough discomfort. I really have. I'm 65 years and I'm not interested in any more discomfort. I have had enough. And I've had enough of people trying to take my power. So I manifest and create my world the way I desire for it to be. And I teach people to do it all the time because I feel that's a really an important part of who we are. Being gods, we have to learn how to use these godlike powers with love.
Yes.
Not with anything but love.
Yes.
So if it's a negative conversation in a room, you can shift the energy just by changing your mind on it. We've changed the subject now. We're on a different subject, and it's everybody's idea, and we're all happy with it because you're not going to go negative.
I think this is so important that you're bringing this up because, what a lot of this has triggered is past persecution being brought present, abusiveness being brought present, feeling left out, bizarre, weird, different, all being brought forward. And so recognizing that, number one, but number two, realizing that you have the power within yourself to change your frequencies and your dials on what it is that you're receiving and emanating out. And so this is really important that you're saying that, Julie. So thank you for that. That needs to be reinstated. Everyone needs to know they can reinstate their power. It never went anywhere. You just need to get in there and find your switch and empower yourself and then assume the deal. Yes.
Yes.
Girl,
and it works. And it works instantly.
Yes.
I have been in an auditorium where there were hundreds of people sitting there, and it was a great big dinner, and somebody was up at the front speaking before we ate, and they wouldn't shut up. They just kept talking and talking and talking. So I looked at all the people with me, some teenagers, and I said, let's shut this down. I'm hungry. Aren't you hungry? And they all went, oh, I'm so hungry. So I looked at the person speaking and I said, okay, you're finished speaking now, and it's your idea, and we're going to eat. And he was standing up there, and all of a sudden he started going, okay, we're hungry now. We're going to eat. and these kids watched me with this, and they were like, holy smoke. So they went to school and did it to their teachers.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
But you know what? It's good because it's teaching them how to manifest in a small way so they can understand how to manifest in a bigger way. Because the more that you can look at what you're doing and understanding how you're doing it, the more power it's got, right? I mean,
yes, and then you'll learn how to use the power in a way that it isn't abusive or causing harm unto others. Like, okay, I'm going to go to school and now tell all my teachers to stop talking. Okay, that's great. However, that's also pushing the energetic, line there a little bit.
Yes, but it is a good test of your powers. And when they told me they were doing it to their teachers, I said, well, if your teacher's over talking and you're not getting your work done, that's fine. But I said, if your teacher is teaching you something that you need to listen to right now, you don't want to do that. So I was trying to explain to them, because I worked with them all the time. So I was explaining, okay, this is how you do it. You don't abuse it. They were teenagers running with a little bit of power and having some fun, but we learned how to temper it so that they did learn, okay, this isn't cool. We don't do that. But it was good they told me, because we could talk about it. We could discuss it. Good for you for trying it out, but please don't be abusive with it, because we don't abuse free will. That's why you're saying it's your idea, because if it's going to work and it's their idea, like if you just look at someone and go, you've stopped talking now, period, that's abuse, because you're now mucking with their free will. And we all just got our free will back. Yes. I mean, it's time for us to realize that. I have been saying for over 30 years that we haven't had free will. Do you know that? I have known for a long time we haven't had free will. And
well, I'm realizing it more just in the last couple years, and more so since 2020, when I look back now, because I had more time to reflect it, like, wow, I thought I had free will, but I didn't. It's been manipulated over and over again to make me think that I had free will.
And the songs and the distractions and the coming into your meditation with fear or any of that is all part of your free will being abused. Like, I don't think people understand. It goes right down to a deep cellular level. It's not just you turn on the TV and something's programming you. It comes with frequencies out there in the world. They play with stuff. And they know exactly how to get into each of us, because our fear mechanisms have been activated. And anytime they activate it because there's a threat of a war or there's a threat of this, a pandemic, or whatever, that activates that cellular fear memory in us and takes us right down to a place of absolute terror. And we're now easily manipulated and they can actually play the music and do the stuff to us even better without us being aware of it, because our fear mechanisms have been activated so strongly. And that's horrible. That's horrible. So the abuse is gone.
Yeah, understanding we have the power to counterbalance those frequencies. That is so amazing. I am so glad that you're bringing that up.
Yeah. And it's important because it's part and parcel of everything that's been done to us. And we've allowed, I've looked at the history, we go back millions of years on this planet. We've been here millions of years, and we were giants. We were once giants. And so 450,000 years ago, when the reptilians arrived, they had a plan, and their frequency is 3D. They can't go higher than 3D. So they then appointed angels and archangels and masters who are not all light in order, because if you look at anything that's biblical, you're looking at all of these control mechanisms that went into place. And if you look at Yahweh as the name of God, you know darn well that they've been working with the demons for a long time. So how far back can we go in our memory on a cellular level to understand how much manipulation there has been? But what we have to understand now is that timeline is over. That timeline was to end at the start of the Aquarian age. The reptilians only had so much time to come in and manipulate, and they're done. So they know that, but they don't want to, right?
Right.
It's a universal law and an agreement. They would come here for so long and then they would leave. So the big fight has been to get them out of here, because they've loved this planet so much. And of course, love resources, and they love gold, love us in not a good way. We have fed them, clothed them, housed them, looked after them so well as good little slaves, haven't we? So we're not doing that any longer.
Right.
It's over. But the cellular memory in people of that fear, the indoctrination, it goes back hundreds of thousands of years to clear out. Yeah. So you're not just clearing out this lifetime, you're clearing out every lifetime that you suffered with. Then there's 144 aspects of each of you. Each person has 144 of ourselves. We are either out in the cosmos or we're on the planet. I got the other night that every single entity or being that ever has been in the cosmos is here on this planet now. Underground, under the water, in the air, in the mountains, they're all here. Why? Let's look at space. The final frontier. It really was the final frontier. We pretty much destroyed almost all the stuff out there. Do you know that? Yeah. So we're here to learn to cohabitate, to love each other. We got into human form because we didn't do such a good job as a spirit. We lost our spirits a lot of ways. We got to become human so we could learn love, learn to heal. If we're out there as a spirit, we have deep love, but we don't really have deep love for everything because we're very, very self-contained. Here we're not. We feel everything, don't we?
Yes.
And it can be painful or it can be beautiful. It's up to us what we do with it. So we're moving into the beauty and the lack of pain and the lack of sorrow. But you have to understand the victimhood has been so deeply ingrained for such a long time. They're going to take a while to figure this out. We have to be patient.
Yes, we have to be patient and also learn how to counter program.
Yep.
To counter program, because even though a lot of them are gone, they have left their programs so deeply ingrained, as you were just saying, so deeply ingrained, because we have repeated this so many times. Whether you want to believe you were on this planet before or not, it doesn't matter. Just look at this lifetime on how you're so programmed. And we can, it's been proven scientifically that you can go back to the Great Depression with no food and things like that, and how it has affected people 6-7 generations ahead of that still go into that starvation mode.
Well, I kind of hoard
enough.
I kind of hoard a bit because of my mom and my dad.
Yes.
I have lots of groceries in this house, and I always make sure I do, because my parents had that cellular memory where they didn't have enough to eat.
Yes.
And so, and then of course, everything that's changed over the years, our food has changed so radically. 50 years ago, you didn't have fast foods. You didn't have all these different restaurants. You maybe had one or two
You didn't
restaurants.
have frozen dinners, hardly nothing.
No, you had nothing
No.
until they started to discover, mass production and chemicals and putting MSG in things and, realizing like, and if you went back to the 1970s, every person walking on the beach was slim.
Yeah.
Everybody's obese now because they've been fed such bad foods and they don't
Yes.
understand how to get into the good foods again.
Mhm.
The foods become an addiction too because of the chemicals that have been put into them.
Yes.
MSG is one of the biggest addictions around. And the first thing it'll do is shut down your immune system,
Yeah.
cause you to be obese, cause you to be addicted to whatever it is you're eating.
Well,
So,
it shuts down the fat cells. The fat cells don't even know how to release themselves. They get stuck.
No.
Everything it's like bumper cars on steroids with no drivers. They're just all banging into each other, constantly
Yeah.
not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
That's just the picture I just got in my head.
So when I speak of diet and spirituality, it's very much part and parcel because we should be looking at our food when we make it and blessing it as we make it. We should
Mhm.
be taking the chemicals out of it with our hands. We can do that. We can program anything with our hands. We can take this glass of water here, which I'll tell you has already been it's got more crystals in that jug than you can imagine. They're all programmed. But you can take water and do this and hold it just like that and program it into holy water with your hands.
Mm.
You don't need to worry about the chlorine, which isn't going to hurt you in the first place. It's the fluoride and all the other chemicals. But reality is you can program and do anything. You can take your food and bless your food with nothing but love and light. And all that is not necessary leaves my body painlessly.
Mhm.
And that food just became part of your vibration.
Mm.
You work in your garden and you want to water your plants. You fill a watering can. You only have to do this once. The rest of the time you can use your hose. You fill your watering can. You spit in the watering can. Why? Because your DNA goes onto the seed and the seed now becomes compatible with you. The power is amazing. So when I water my stuff and I plant all my things, I spit. The DNA from me goes into the seeds, changes their DNA, and I only use organic seeds, but it
Mhm.
changes that DNA so that it is now compatible with mine.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
They say spit on the seed, but I thought, screw spit. What? This little tiny
Spit
little
on my
seed?
water. Yeah, because the seed might dissolve right in your hand before you
Oh.
plant it. Or
So-
they'll get stuck on your hand. You're like, I'm trying to
Well,
pop it.
have you seen a lettuce seed? It's the size of the head of a pin.
Yes.
I mean, okay, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna spit
It's
on
like a
that. And then
pepper. Yeah. It's like
you can't do it. So, it's just, but you can do so many things. Yeah, exactly. Go walk out to your garden and just do an Italian spit on everything.
Yeah.
But regardless, if you just do it in a water jug and then you just water all of this stuff with your spitty water, you've now changed the DNA of that plant and you didn't even know you did it.
Mm.
Yeah. So, when I'm working in the kitchen, I mean, my son-in-law tells everybody, it doesn't matter what Julie makes. It's delicious and it's healthy for me. And she can use 2 pounds of butter because it's healthy and it's blessed.
There you
You know,
go.
But in the reality is that, learning how to do these things, put that meditative state into what you're doing,
Mhm.
no matter what it is. If you're cooking and you're cutting up vegetables, put the blessing in your hands.
Yeah.
Just put the blessing in your hands and do it so that whatever anybody's eating, they're going, my God, this just feels like it's just heaven for me. And it is because you've created that energy for it.
Yes.
So, it's not even hard stuff. It's just dedication and remembering to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And once we start getting into it, we learn it, we don't lose it. We keep doing it because it becomes a part of our day-to-day ritual, So
Yeah. I'm just thinking about, I bought one of those little indoor things with where you can plant the seeds with the lights.
Yep.
And it's to show a little boy he doesn't like vegetables or anything. I said, let's start growing your own and see if they taste different for you. So when you just said that, I'm thinking of like, how do I get him to spit on the seed and not like think this is insane?
Just tell them this: if you spit in the water and we water the plant, they're going to become part of you.
Yeah.
It'll merge with you. You know?
I can just see him going to his grandmother's house now. Hold on a second. I gotta spit on everything here, Grandma.
You wouldn't believe the kids that I've influenced over the years, working with children and teaching them about crystals and how to program them and how to do things, you know, and it's just been wonderful.
Oh, that's awesome.
It really has, you know. And these new babies coming in, they are brilliant, and they are healing themselves before they're even born if they have any issues in the womb. Because you know, I was talking to some unborn babies, and I was like, holy smokes, these babies are powerful. They're going to come in being very healthy and very aware and very awake. And it's going to be an interesting time when this baby boom that's coming is going to be, because you're going to be seeing this influx of these amazing beings who are going to be changing literally and won't accept things the way we did.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're going to be teaching the older people how to do things because they'll remember. On this planet, you know, we were given the garden, which isn't this garden. This garden that we're in now, what we call planet Earth, is not even the Garden of Eden. It's actually Antarctica. So that's going to be an interesting thing when that comes through, because there will be so many medicines that come from that place. It's actually Eden. This planet is like a bunch of modules, only it's not even this planet. We're a little tiny module in this great big being. And I have seen the whole universe is coming here. But we are actually moving in a spiral towards where our final destination is. And it's all part of the parcel. Will we need to space travel? It's all going to be here. Why do we need to? You know, the whole space thing has been something that people have romanticized for so long, but it's not even the truth. You know, who we are and what we are, it's all encompassing on this planet. If we start leaving this planet and try to go somewhere else, we'll fail again. We'll fail again.
I'm wondering if that's why the the grid around the Earth is slowly disappearing. I wonder if it's because more beings are coming in, and then we're also spinning differently, right? That, I mean, it's all going to equal out, but I'm just thinking I'm just visualizing, it just came to me like, well, it's all part of the process because you're going in a different direction, but then more are coming in to join you in this direction. So that makes sense, Julie. Thank you.
Yeah. This planet, I mean, there's the whole flat Earth theories. It's kind of that way. It is kind of that way, because if you look at the planet, you'll see this great, huge, it looks like a big white mass. And here's our Earth in little tiny piece here. And I'm seeing, it's almost like a disco ball with all these little light centers. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And each of them are filling in. So they're filling in with Lyrons and Andromedans and every Pleiadians and Sirians, you name it. It's all filling in, because all of these beings are already here.
Yeah.
They already have been for a long time, because they needed a place to come to heal too. It's just that they're not right here where we are. They're in different dimensions. They're in different parts of the world, little cities under this water, cities above us, cities in the mountains. It's all part and parcel of those. So we've all been cohabitating with them and not even knowing that we are.
Yeah.
So the merging, when it comes, they'll already be here. It's not like a bunch of ships are going to come and land and go, holy smokes, they're here already. So
yeah, I get a lot of beings in orbs. And so I also, a couple months ago, got some newer ones, and they'll hang out a little bit of a distance from me. And the message I'm getting is they're just learning how to, they're communicating with my frequency without coming in too strongly. So they were visually showing me that they were keeping a distance, whereas other ones will come up close and hang out, and I can see them in different colors and touch them. But so I know that other beings are coming and are here.
They are.
I mean, that are here.
I mean, there are definitely spaceships. They have ways to cloak them, but so does the US. The US, I have too. Yeah. The US Air Force has got lots of spaceships, and they use them.
Yeah.
Because they've got the technology. So, you know, a lot of the stuff that we see isn't even alien. It's humans doing it. So, we're getting all kinds of different stories and different visions and different everything. Reality is that a lot of people who are seeing stuff up in the sky, where there's these different lights and all these different things happening, you're seeing grid work happening. You're seeing stuff happening, and the dome over the planet, there really is a dome over us. So, it's almost like the Truman Show all over again, and, we all have to understand that, it's like being a little child and being told, don't go near that house, it's haunted. Don't go to the edge, it's haunted or it's dangerous. Don't go here, don't do that. So the fear has been set up in us to not change and not move. And, people travel around the world and go to different destinations, but really they don't change anything inside of themselves because they're terrified to do it. They're terrified to open their hearts or their eyes to anything else that would be out there.
Well, because we've been ingrained and taught that that's a horrible ending for you, or that's the devil, or that's this, or that's that, when it's not. And you just need to work with your own inner vibrations and start hanging around like-minded people and have sessions with people like Julie and Sandy and get to know yourself better. Because it's really about knowing yourself and where your limits are at this moment, and remove those limits and expand.
And it's really about learning you. What are you capable of? If you can see yourself get a parking space, what else to play with? If you can see yourself shut down a negative conversation, or pay attention to that song playing in your head over and over, and oh God, it's a yucky song. Why is this coming into my head? Because it's part of my program. As soon as I notice it, it now gets gone. It's no longer programmed because I'm paying attention to it.
Yeah.
These little subtle things are the things that open you up to the bigger aspects of it all. And you have to start small, because you got to start learning how to trust yourself, what you receive, what you feel, what you see. And then it's trusting your intuitions. If you have a vision of something, what was it? Can you expand upon it? A lot of people will text me and they'll say, I just had a vision of this. And I'll say, okay, what did it make you feel like? Because it's to do with something with you. So what did it make you feel like?
Right.
And you can expand on that vision with them so that they can see what the message is. Whereas you may not know the message, but if you talk with them about it, how does it make you feel? What did you see when you were looking at that? What did you feel? You can expand and discuss that whole thing. And then suddenly they can get clarity on what it meant. And it's them doing it. It's not you.
Yeah.
It's them understanding that they can get that clarity by just and even write down what you saw. Like, what did you see? How did it work for you? Because writing things down is a very important part of what we do.
Oh yeah. I carry little handbook journals. So I have a question for you that's coming up in my brain right now. Is we're talking about, the program, we're talking about the words that we've used, that we've been taught that are good words, or supposedly divine connection words, and so on and so forth. Because we know what religion has done. We already know that. It doesn't even need to be beaten to death.
Nope.
We know what it's done to beat us down to walking dead people, really. And I've known this all my life, but I grew up in a religious motherhood with my sisters and all. And so I wanted to say the words, divine creator or gods or whatever. And I was programmed. I had to say Jesus, I had to say God and all this stuff. But yet Yeshua would come to me and say, that's not what I said, and so on and so forth. So for a very, very long time, decades, I couldn't even say the word God.
No.
And I only started saying it again in the last maybe 5 years or so, just to identify with what it is that I'm trying to speak of. And I remember my own sister said, oh my goodness, it's so nice to hear you say the word God. You must believe in God. And I went, I couldn't even explain to her my belief system, which isn't the point here. The point is, what do we think about this word God? I mean, I know what people think it means and so on, but the word itself.
It's an anachronism.
Yeah. So let's talk
It means
about that,
gift.
because that's coming up big time right now.
It means gift of DNA.
Okay.
Gift of DNA. And Gog and Magog, typed wrongly. It's God and Magod. Right? Gift of DNA. Gift of DNA, am God. It's am God. It's like dogma. Take that word from the Bible, turn it backwards. am God. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
we've got to understand that a lot of the words that have been written are written deliberately to confuse us. And
Mm-hmm.
to and if you look at gift of DNA, God, you
Oh,
will
way better.
realize, oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's
If
just clicking in and I'm going, what?
yeah, yeah.
What?
If you look at gift of DNA, you realize that you're God. You got God's DNA.
Yes, yes, I know that.
God, God, am God. We are God, you know? So if we can understand that, we can certainly understand that God is an anachronism, just like RCMP or CPA or whatever. It's an anachronism. And it's just a word that's been made smaller
Mm-hmm.
to stop you from finding your power. Even God has been misused, the
Mm-hmm.
word, you know? If you look at gift of DNA, oh, good. You gave me your DNA, so I
Yeah.
am God. If
Yes.
I recognize that, your dogma doesn't work for me because I'm God. Isn't it
Mm-hmm.
something? Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
Yeah,
So the word God,
and we're taught that, oh, don't you dare compare yourself to that. I've always
no.
thought this way, but keep going. This isn't so interesting.
Well, I was talking with someone one day and I was telling them about how I had found the piece of God that I am. And they said, that sounds like ego to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I don't really feel it's ego because if I find that piece of God that I am, I work with my super ego. It is no longer human ego. And I can see and feel and hear and do all kinds of things that I never used to be able to do when
Mm-hmm.
I was just in my human ego. So I look at super ego as the God self and the piece of you that is completely awake and aware. It just
Yeah.
is. So, the power that is within. People say, how can you take that power? How can I not? If I understand it and I understand that I'm a piece of God and I was a gift of DNA, I'm just taking it. you know?
I
And it's
gotcha.
not it's not ego, it's love. There's a
Yes.
whole different energy to it because superego is all about an
Well, it's
evolution.
already there. So if you haven't accepted the fact that it's there, then you're resisting and fighting and being programmed to
Yourself.
exactly. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. You're fighting yourself. You're completely fighting yourself and you're not even owning that you deserve it. That you deserve. I got into a huge discussion with my sister 25 years ago and maybe 30 years ago. And she said to me that I had to follow the rules from the Bible. And I was doing things that were evil and dark.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, there's the difference between you and I. I said, because you're biblically taught. So you believe that the Bible is the only way and you believe that you're right and I'm wrong. I said, what I feel is that you're right and I'm right. It doesn't matter who believes what. If you believe something that brings your heart to your completion, I don't care if you want to go biblical, go for it. You are going to figure it out later, but but
no judgment,
reality,
no judgment here.
no, but reality is that if we can understand that we are both right, then judgment goes out the window. And there was no answer to that. There was no answer. There was just a because it set something else into play, understanding that I don't judge you for being a Christian. Don't judge me for being a spiritual, because Christianity is spirituality, probably 808, not a good one, but we're doing spirituality. A lot of people, I always say spirituality 101 because I like to get people as simply into it as you do. And but if you look at the biblical teachings that people have had, it's very structured, it's very full of fear, and it's very all condemning and all damning, which none of that was done. And Jesus would never write that, ever. No, he never would. He would never say, you will be judged, judge not lest you be judged yourself. He doesn't say that crap because it's crap. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge anyone. Just be love.
Well,
Keep
I
it
think
spiritually simple.
one of my lessons, is looking at just all the religions within the just Christianity. and
Mhm.
how one thinks it's better than the other because it takes a
Yeah.
paragraph out of a chapter of something and adopts that as their mission statement. And it's like, but it all comes from the same premise. So where are we going with that? So for me, I never liked all this division. I felt like religion
No,
created us so much division.
it
But
did.
yet for
Yeah.
me to speak that up to my family or other people, it'd be blasphemy. She's the
Mhm.
black sheep weirdo. And I was like, so I just learned to say, hi, how you doing? I have no idea what you're talking about. And just
Like
go
my
with the
feather
flow.
ears.
Yeah. Like my feather earrings.
Yes,
I just go with the flow. And so
I'm a
now
weirdo.
I still say nothing. And if I'm asked, then I answer. If I feel the message come through to answer, then I will. If not, I'm not worried about it. I know who
No.
I am and I'm fine with that.
Yep. And you know what? I don't have any judgments over anyone who wants to go to church or wants to be a Christian or wants to be. But the funny thing about all of this, let's look at Jesus. Let's look at Jesus, Mohammed, Confucius, Krishna, Buddha. Guess what? All the same person.
Yeah.
There's not one of them that wasn't that same. It's that energy.
They all house the Christ energy, the crystal energy.
Exactly.
Yes.
The crystalline energy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So they are all the same entity reincarnated over and over with the messages over the years. So, it stands to reason that they gave up deciding to return as an actual soul rather than come inside each of us, because they're done. They're done with trying to teach us over and over what we should have learned.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're just merging into each of us so that we can relearn it, remember it, and get the heck out of our own way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So if you look at all of these spirits, these energies, they come from the soul collective. The soul collective is one. It just is. It's one. We are all of us in it, and we're all one. And that is where the separation started, because people didn't remember that. They didn't remember that they came from one. And the one is source, and that is God, and is God within. So it's activating all of that to become the person that we're meant to be, the God we're meant to be, the gift of DNA, So,
I love that.
Yeah. There's
I
so
never
many.
put that together. I'm like, I'm so together. How come I don't know that? How come I never put that together?
It's okay. It's my job. I've been doing it for
Thank
so
you.
long. I had a reading years ago from a woman down in Vancouver, and I'll never forget this woman. She said to me, I said, what is my purpose? Because I said, I can feel all of this stuff coming in. I could feel Jesus and Buddha and like all of it. And I was absolutely overwhelmed. So I went to this woman and I said, I need some help and she looked at me and she said, well, firstly, I'm going to tell you that you are like Buddha and Jesus. And I went, what? She gave me a tape, and it was hilarious because when I got the tape home, I listened to it. It scared the shit out of me so badly. I never listened to it again. And then when I was ready to go listen to it, my daughter taped over it with rap music.
Yeah, because we always reused tapes back then, remember?
We didn't push the little thing in, right?
Uh-huh.
So anyway, that was fine. But she said, it is your job to rewrite the Bible. And that just scared the ever-loving poop out of me. I was like, what? You want me to rewrite the Bible? But what I'm realizing is I am doing that because what I'm sharing is coming from that energy. Mm-hmm. So I've written my book, Linear to Zigzag, which is for sale on Amazon. And that book talks about the Bible and talks about the things that were misworded and misdone. And I do this all the time on my lives. So I think it's coming that way rather than being, oh God, I got to rewrite the whole Bible, because that feels daunting, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes. You're coming at it from other angles that are more receiving to people, I think.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. And that makes me understand it better, because I know who I am. I know the energy that I am. And I also know that I haven't been a human except 47 times, which is very small numbers. Most people are between 250 and 350 lives. I've had 47. I've only come here to do the work when it's been necessary. This is my last time here, and it's a success. I have completed my soul contract to get the work done that I had to do. And now
Mhm.
everything else is just gravy. And I feel so complete. I could have left if I wanted to. I could have just died instantly if I wanted to,
Mhm.
because I'm done.
Yeah.
But and not many people get to fulfill their soul contract. It takes a lot of lifetimes. It takes a long time to get there.
Mhm.
And so it's been a 30-year journey for me. Things I received 30 years ago, I'm now working with to fix. So, it's been a very interesting time. And all I feel is gratitude and love and honor and care. No ego, just love, gratitude, honor, and care for all of humans, the whole planet, for all of the people on the planet who are sold. I feel gratitude because they're going to find themselves.
Mhm.
And that is a big thing.
It is. And a message that's coming through right now is you completed your soul's contract. You're choosing to stay. Now you can choose the lessons that you have learned. Which ones of those lessons do you feel you can share with others to help them excel and jump the hurdles to get
Yes.
to their next levels? That's the message is coming through for me, for you.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
the same about me. It's definitely my last lifetime. My life path is at 36. I have no idea how many times I've been here. I just have always known this was my last time being here, unless I chose to come back, which who knows what I'll do when I get there.
You've been 204 times. I can see it.
Okay.
So you're in less than the averages too. And you've spent a lot of time in Egypt, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you've spent a lot of time in Tibet as well. So you've done a lot of monkeying around.
my,
Monk.
my monkey jokes this morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
monkey. Yeah.
You've done a lot of that. So you've been a very learned person in most of your lifetimes where you've done a lot of work. You've been a witch a few times. You didn't get killed for it, but you help people. You've been a healer a lot. So you're here to do the same thing that I'm doing. And
Mhm.
that is to finish your soul contract and work it through. And just doing this show is part of it.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's getting these messages out that, we're just like you people. You can do it too.
Yeah.
You have to put your mind and your heart together and be willing to let go of old programming and take a step into your innate part of living. And
Yeah.
that scares people, but you got to trust that intuition, that innate part of you, which is your antenna to God. It's all the
Yeah.
God source in DNA in you, your
Yep.
gift of DNA.
It's
I'm
beautiful.
never forgetting. Can I forget this one?
I'm just happy to share it because, I've been looking at Gog and Magog and God, and I've been looking at these and DNA. I mean, the word "and" is DNA. It's a
Mm,
connector, right?
mm.
It's a connector. Sandra and her grandbaby, DNA. It's a connector,
Yes.
you know?
Mm,
So, I mean, we look at a lot of these words and we go, holy crap, they're not even really words. They're
right.
anachronisms. They're turned the wrong way. They're just, if you live in the now, you've won. WON, NOW, right? There's just all these things that we can look at and go, oh my goodness, it's much more broad than I thought it was. And if I look at words and I start analyzing these words and I start realizing, the English language came mostly from ancient Sanskrit. We didn't come from Greek and Latin like we thought.
Mm,
The most words come from ancient Sanskrit that have been changed and turned. We do have Latin and Greek in there too. And we have some French. We have all kinds of different languages. But realistically, the biggest place that the language came from, and this is from the Tower of Babel, because the Tower of Babel, where the language originated, and it goes back millions of years, by the way, it was ancient Sanskrit, the language of the stars. So we came here with that and changed a lot over the years. But if you talk to a person like my sister's mother-in-law was from Norway. She hadn't been back to Norway for 35 years. And when she went back, didn't understand anything anybody said because they had so many different anachronisms, metaphors, different words. They made words. And that's exactly what we've done over the years is we've taken
Oh, yeah.
words and morph them and change them, you know?
Yes. Which is
I
why
mean,
each generation doesn't understand the language of the next.
well, look at, if you read some of the stuff that the young ones are writing, you know, that, you know, LOL, and I don't even know all these little memes. I haven't got a clue what they are, but they sure get me confused because like, I don't even know what some of them mean. And I have to actually go Google them because I don't know what the heck they're saying.
No idea. I remember when MySpace came out and my teenager was on MySpace, and every time I went by, her dad would say, what was she saying? I said, I don't know. I just saw POS is all I saw. He goes, oh, okay. And I go, why? What does that mean? He goes, parent over shoulder.
Oh, no way.
And I went, what? She's telling the other person that I'm walking by, she has to stop typing POS, parent over shoulder. And I'm like, oh my God, these kids are clever. Of course, she's much older now, but this is when all that, you know, MySpace and all these things started opening up where people could communicate and chat, which created hell on earth as far as I'm concerned, because it took people from having eye-to-eye conversations, and it took people to talking behind each other's backs all the time. Just insanity as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, parent over shoulder.
Holy smokes, I didn't even know that one. See, I don't know any of them.
That's an outdated one now too.
Yeah, because I was going to say piece of. That's what I would have thought it was.
Yeah.
But holy smokes, that's amazing.
Yeah, and then then she got smart. So as she heard my footsteps, she just would block the screen. That's what kids would do, and God forbid what they do now.
Yeah, well, they've got their little personal devices. You can't control anything, you know? And, you know, I think this was one of the most evil things ever perpetrated on humankind, was giving all these kids cell phones. Oh, yeah. It was the worst thing for their health, for their well-being, for their mental health. It turned them into program bots. And the other thing that it did was it controlled them. You know, it controlled them.
It reads your blood pressure. It reads your respiration. It hears everything around you. It hears everything. And people think, oh, they're so cool. And it's like, no, they're not. If you knew,
it's just as bad. It's just as bad on these devices, you know, like I've got my iPad right here, and I was talking to my husband about buying a new car. Well, now I'm getting ads all over the place for a new car.
Oh, sure.
Because it's listening to us, you know?
Oh,
so
yeah. I think one day I said something like, I wasn't even near my phone or my computer. And I think I said something about feeling FAT. I said, man, I'm really feeling FAT. Next thing I know, I've got stuff popping up on my computer. I'm getting text messages about how to slim down. And I'm like, what the, who got my phone number? I'm like, so now sometimes I feel like joking around, but I realize I'm dealing with AI. I'm not dealing with a bunch of people behind a computer going, oh, she said the word F. Let's send her all this stuff. It's a bot. I get it.
It's horrid though. And it's
horrible.
It's such an abuse of your privacy, and it's wrong.
Totally.
And, you know, they are just now admitting that they have been spying on all of us. And that is also abuse of our free will. So there will be trouble from that too, because they're going to have to learn they can't keep doing this. It's got to stop. But, you know, my phone, one day I was listening on my phone and I was talking to somebody, and I heard this little beep on my phone that was not a familiar beep. And I knew somebody was listening in on my conversation. And I know they have been, because I was told they're watching me like crazy because of the things I say and do. And so I have done everything I can to just shut that stuff down. And I've got crystals and stones and shungite attached to everything so that they can't, you know, interfere.
Sure.
And yet they still can try. They'll still try. But, you know, I mean, it comes right down. Like I said, interference, distractions and controls. It all comes in from so many different levels, you know. And that's one of the things that I teach people, you know, about their spirituality, is to also watch what we're saying. Watch how you say it. Okay, so if you say, I need a new car, the first place it hits you is in your gut, you know. It just hits you in your gut like, oh my God, I can't afford a new car. I need a new car, but I can't afford one. So now change it and say, I desire a new car. And it moves up to your heart. I can afford a new car. It stays in the heart. You know, I want, I need, I'm left wanting and needing, because I'm never going to be able to fulfill that. And that's part of it. Like if you look on TV, you know, the first thing they'll say on an ad is, you need a new car. You need this ring. You need these clothes, or you need this new house. The minute it puts you into that, it puts you into a complete place of lack.
Mhm.
And then all that does is trigger that lack and activate you to do something about it so that you're not feeling like you're lacking. So you're going to go buy a new car, you're going to go buy a new house, or go get that ring, or go do whatever, because you're now in such a place of lack that you can't even get out of it. You're now scared.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the manipulation goes so deep and so far into everything. It's just amazing, isn't it?
It's insane. It's
Yeah.
beyond insane. It's mind-blowing actually, which is why we just have to keep backing up and being in the present moment and taking that moment with that breath and connecting to the best of your ability so that
Yep.
the next step is built off of that step. And if you
Yep.
trip and you fall and you go back into programming, you get back into getting into that breath, going into the next, taking that step. And each time you do that, the more you'll get further and further onto your path. And then
Yes.
you'll recognize every single time you're about to stub your toe or
Yep.
something's happening around you, you become more involved with that. Well,
You do.
Julie, I know we're running out of time here. So what can we share with our lovely viewers today? What would be something that you would like to leave, that can help people on a daily basis?
Well,
I
the
mean,
biggest,
appointments with you are very good. So I would suggest that, which we'll have the links in the description. But what would you suggest?
I would suggest, start noticing the subtle things around you that are programming you and holding you down. Start noticing the things, because you will, once we talk about it, because we will activate something inside of you. Because as I've said for so many years to everybody, only 10% of what we do is this. 90% of what we do is out there in the ethers with the higher selves of the people we work with. And so we are already helping them to deprogram themselves by talking about it, because it sets that energy. So pay attention to what is driving you. Pay attention to what is causing you to have addictions or desires that are not of light. Pay attention to that stuff, because that's part of your programming, and you can remove it just with a thought. It's gone. So all you have to do is start noticing, and you're going to change your reality so that you're not going to be inundated with this dark stuff anymore. That is the biggest message I can give, because it is something that we've all got to start doing, because that is removing those layers of the onion that are your lack of spirit, your lack of knowing, your lack of understanding for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
It's pretty
you.
cool.
And I know that, on your Facebook page, everybody can join that, and I'll have the link on that too. Because you put out some amazing lives that have a lot of really important messages, and it's free
Thank
to
you.
listen to. Just sign
Yeah.
up, and the recording's there if you happen to miss it, because sometimes even I miss them, and I have to go listen to them later. So
Yeah.
I appreciate all the work that you do. That complements the work that you do behind the scenes, but the work that you do in front of the scenes with Facebook, and then writing your books that you've done. You've got 2 new books out.
Yeah. And I've got a third one I'm working on. As soon as I can get it finished editing, it'll be going out. And that's the story of Jesus, called What Child Is This?
Awesome.
And it's a 600-page book. It's not a little book. And there's a and I'm on the second book now. So it's going to be a lot of reading, but it's a really good story about how Jesus really was. And he was a lovely man, and he was very loved by everyone. And he was adamant not to write down his words, and they didn't listen, because words get twisted when you write them down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at how that can go on a text with somebody, and you write something and they take whatever you wrote completely wrong, even though you didn't write it that way. It's easy.
I get in trouble all the time. And then I say to people, could you at least visualize me saying it before you go to
yeah, don't
I get
go
that.
there.
And so some people that don't understand me, I'll just say, don't text me. I will not text you back. You take it out of context every time. And then this fiery energy happens. And even if apologies are said, damage is done. And some people just can't get over it. So I'm like, certain people I can't have long conversations with. Certain people I cannot text with. So that's the other thing, going back to the vibration, is when you're really working on your vibration, and like Julie was saying earlier, some of us need to be not around a lot of people right now, because we're really fine tuning our own stuff. And the more that you fine tune it, the more you're realizing so many people they don't vibe with you, or they're going to be a distraction and they're not quite ready to hear or listen or work on themselves. So it can be encumbersome. It can be, it can drag you down. So we're
Yep.
not alone. We're still got our tribes, but be selective in who you're speaking with. Be selective in who you're tuning into. Be selective who you're having sessions with. Get someone like Julie and myself who are actually out there to see you get to the next level and be as excited as you are that you got there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's really just elbowing and hugging each other on every level, even if it's long distance like this, which is the beautiful thing about Zoom.
And then also pay attention to the fact that as you are healing and you are changing your vibration, so shall the people around you change. and maybe not be there anymore because they no longer are completely compatible with your energy.
Yeah.
Who you used to be is no longer that person.
Yeah.
You're allowed to change. They're allowed to accept that you changed or not.
Yes.
It's their choice.
Yes.
And that is a big one that has really hit a lot of people, because as you spiritually awaken, your vibration shifts. You find you don't take as much as you used to. You're not the same energy. So people who are, differing with your energy, they're not attracted as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so that there is a period of time. And I always say this with that one, that there is this cohesion to it, because when you're with the people in your family that you love, it's always like this. And there is such love and such caring, such acceptance. And one of you changes, and then suddenly it's not there anymore. But it takes time. And over a few months or a couple of years, it can come back again, because they'll realize, oh, she changed, but she's okay.
Mm-hmm.
She's not that bad. I can handle this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a question of you getting used to your vibration and them getting used to that change, and then bringing that cohesiveness back in again. And it does arrive back if there's enough love to hold it there.
Sure.
If there's not enough love and respect, then it stays like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that can happen either
Yes.
way. So, it's making sure that you're really looking after and honoring yourself in this now, because each of us is finding that piece of the gift of DNA within, and we are learning how to merge it,
Gift of DNA. I'm so excited.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
I have to have a new sign. I have to have a new sign made.
You feel free.
That's what I'm thinking. Get this monkey business. Well, listen, Julie, it has been such an honor and a pleasure to talk with you. I always love listening to you, and I want to have you back on because there's so much we can share with everybody. There's so many things you're doing. I can't wait to see some of your books, and also the new one that's coming out, because I think everyone's leaning towards, who is this Jesus? Who is this Yeshua? Who is this stuff? Because everyone's got, we have to get away from what we were told and come out to some new perspectives about the reality of this particular ascended master that walked this earth. That's the beautiful thing about it. So
and then merge him with Buddha and Krishna and Muhammad and Confucius. Absolutely. And realize they're all the same energy.
Take the walls of religion away. Take those brick and mortars and all that, those names, and just they will dissolve and go away. And you'll look at this person as a man who walked on earth with so much to teach, as well as so many others did. And we're here to emulate that ourselves, because we are the gift of DNA.
If you ever read the Beatitudes in the Bible, that is the best part of the Bible. And it was written by Jesus. And one thing he says in there, if you desire to worship God, do not go into the temples as the heathens do. Go into thy closet, thy secret self, and find God. Yeah. It's that simple.
It is that simple. But as a very young child, I couldn't really pick up the book and read it very often. I did when I had to, because we did a family thing, but I just don't even acknowledge that book at all in my life, because so much of it, and this is somebody who just knew the inner knowing. I had no concrete evidence of anything except for this is not all there is. There's so much more. This has been rewritten. And even at a young age, I started looking at the back of people's Bibles and seeing how many times it was written and rewritten and who did it. And most of it was heads of churches, heads of states, queens and kings, and so on, and how many times they did it. And I'm like, And then if you just know about King James and how he came about, it's just insane. And after a while you look at it and you go, okay, we need some new material here. So I'm so glad you're coming out with this.
Yes.
So thank you. I look forward to it. So much love, everybody. We'll see Julie again soon. Please tune into her links that are going to be listed below, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.